Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. You'll recognise her, but now we've got Soph from Ladies in Red back on the channel to take a look ahead to the Man United against West Ham game. Soph, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for having me again. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good actually. I'm not really looking forward to the game, but I'm personally doing quite well, thank you. How's your season going?
Started off obviously a worrying start, but I feel like we're gradually with every game getting better. I think you can see more of Ten Hag's system coming through with each game that we play. So yeah, I'm feeling optimistic. I think that's the word I'd say. I wouldn't say we're there yet or by any stretch of the imagination, but I do feel like we're on the right path. And yeah, I think in glimpses we get excited, but it's just now about Ten Hag obviously being given the time and the players, hopefully, because every signing that he's had so far, to be fair, has been an absolute hit. So obviously, if we can continue that, then yeah, exciting times ahead.
What do you make of Ten Hag so far? Because you wanted him when I spoke to you last season. You were keen to see Ten Hag come in. He's here now. What's your? I know we're only a couple of months into the season, but I think it's long enough to sort of get an idea of what he's doing or what he's trying to do. What do you make of your manager?
I like him. I mean, you know me. I got slagged for backing Solskjaer. Like I always back the manager. That's just who I am. But I like him, and I think like with certain situations, he's had a few tough decisions. With Ronaldo and stuff like that, and I think he's handled it all perfectly. And so yeah, I know a lot of United fans are on board with me as well, and just completely back him. And like I say, he deserves the time. But I think what he's done so far, I mentioned the signings earlier. I think he deserves a lot of credit. I mean, what's your thoughts as like obviously an opposition fan? Like, has he impressed you?
I liked him at Ajax though, so I probably had a conception of him prior to arriving in the Premier League. But at your club, I think it's difficult because I think he's having to change the culture. He's not like it's not like when you go into say like the manager goes into Aston Villa when Emery goes in there. He's not necessarily having to change the culture there. He's just got to get better at this a good squad that's already there. He's just got to improve what's happening on the pitch. But I think the problem with Man United is it's almost like too big to some extent. And I think I get the impression he's trying to rein it all in a little bit in trying to take control. And I think he's probably out your manager's post Fergie. He's probably the most Fergie like manager you've had, I think. And it feels like he's trying to get back to that a little bit. And I hope he does. I think that's what you need.
Yeah.
But you need to give him a hell of a lot of time though, and we're talking seasons here. It's not an overnight thing. It's not even a season-long thing. I think you're looking 2, 3, 4 years down the line before you can really properly judge him. It's just a case of, can you give him that time?
I think we have to. I think we've tried it in the past. We know it's not going to be a quick fix. I'm hoping we've learned our lesson now as a club from obviously trying to get the quick fix managers in and just trying to hope that overnight it changes. There's too many problems at this club. We know that there's too much deadwood that we need to get out as well. I mean, we've still got Phil Jones in our ranks, which I find astonishing. So I feel like it is a work in progress with him. But like I say, so far, all the big decisions he's had to make, I feel like he's dealt with them superbly. And obviously, that's always a massive thing coming to Man United. We know there's going to be a lot of scrutiny, a lot of pressure on how he handles things. The slightest thing could be said out of place in a press conference and people jump on it. Look at Anthony's skill from last night. Like, everyone's talking about that. Like, you just know it's going to happen when it's United who are involved. And I just think so far, so good. That's what I'd say for him. And I'm excited to see where he can take this club.
What do you make of the Ronaldo thing? I mean, the good thing about the Anthony skill is it's taken over the Ronaldo talk, which has been dominating the press for the last couple of weeks. But what's your view just in general on Ronaldo and the situation between him and Ten Hag?
There's no defending on what he did. You can't just walk down the tunnel in the manner that he did. And look, I'm hypocritical. I've done it myself as a player. I've had a strap and walked off. But obviously, when it's Ronaldo, he moved a bottle of Coke and he went absolutely viral. Like, he can't do... And everything that he does is scrutinised, isn't it? And he would have known the backlash that he would have got from that. He would have known that everybody would have seen it. And obviously, there's later clips come out where he's refused to go on and stuff as well. I just think there was no defending it. And I absolutely adore Ronaldo, as you know. I love the guy. And I think the right thing was done. I think he took his punishment. He's straight back in. I think it was the right thing to play him yesterday. Obviously, he's got a goal eventually as well. But yeah, I think Ten Hag dealt with it well. At the end of the day, Ronaldo isn't the same Ronaldo. Ten Hag has to suit his system. And yeah, if Ronaldo isn't a part of that, then it takes balls from Ten Hag, but he has to make that decision. And I feel like Ronaldo still has a lot to give for this team, but it is a team game at the end of the day. It's not all about him. And I'm hoping that now he's not learned his lesson as such, because he's a winner. He wants to play, of course he does. But I think that it's brushed under the carpet. We draw a line, we move on. You heard the fans chanting his name yesterday. I'm sure it'll soon be forgotten about. But I think Ten Hag dealt with it right away.
Do you think he's got, I say, a long-term future? Given his age, it's never going to be long-term. But do you think he can remain at Man United for this season and contribute, or do you think this drama is going to be something that keeps cropping up with Ronaldo between now and the end of the season, unless he's playing week in, week out and being the main man. But I get the impression he's not really going to get given that role. So are you okay with it, or do you think there's going to be, and this issue is going to come up again, January transfer window and beyond?
I hope it doesn't. I'd like to think that Ronaldo obviously dipped his toe in the market, was trying to look out for what offers there were, and I don't think there's any better offers at the moment than United. I don't think many clubs can afford Ronaldo, to be honest with you. Like I say, I still think he can offer a lot to this team, whether that's from the bench or whether that's from starting. I still think he's a useful weapon to have. Of course, it's Cristiano Ronaldo, and I'm not going to slag him off and say he's not good enough anymore, because I just think he's a different type of player. But obviously, Ten Hag has his system and the way that he wants to play. So it all depends on Ronaldo's mindset, I guess. Is he going to be happy being that player who can come off the bench, not going to start every single game? Can you see Ronaldo being that guy? I don't know. And I think it all comes down to if there's any better offers around it. If there's another offer in January, I do think that he'll go, which will hurt me, but I understand it at the same time, because it's Cristiano Ronaldo we were talking about and he shouldn't be sat on the bench. But I'm not slagging off Ten Hag, because he has his own system as well and what he needs to do. So I get it on it both sides. So if there's an offer, I can see him going in January, but I hope he doesn't.
I interrupt this video with 2 messages. The first one is, if you're new to Hammers Chat, make sure you subscribe, because we're nearly on 28,000 subscribers. Be nice to hit it this weekend. Be a nice morale boost for oneself. And second of all, this video is sponsored by Spitch. Whom is Spitch? Spitch is the fantasy football app, especially for those that think they're good at fantasy league. Put your money where your mouth is. You can download the app by clicking the link in the description. It's free to download and it's free to sign up. But there's free to play games on there, including the Hammers Chat Community League, where you can go head to head with each other, as well as myself and Gonzo. But there's also paid games on there for those that reckon they can walk the walk as well as talk the talk. I've entered into the Classic Premier League game this weekend, which has cost me £1.70, and the top prize currently is £50. But the top 25% of entries get paid out. I just need to finish in the top 25%. It shouldn't be too difficult. I make it a lot more difficult than it needs to be. However, if you're better than me at Fantasy League, a lot of you will be, you can do by getting involved by clicking that link in the description and downloading the app. Now, you haven't been playing yet, don't worry about it. There's no ongoing season total. The game is based on this weekend and this weekend only. The 10 Premier League fixtures is coming up over Saturday and Sunday. That's all that's included in your points tally, so don't worry about it. You can go over budget, you can go under budget. There's a different point scoring basis on Spitch as well. It's a really unique app, so please do get it downloaded by clicking the link in the description. Get involved, and if I win money, I'm going to give it to one of you guys. To enter, all you have to do is leave a comment of this video with your score prediction ahead of Sunday's game. Any money I win, I'll pick a winner, give it to one of you guys. But I'm not very good at it, unfortunately. But if you are, get involved. From on the pitch to off the pitch, obviously there's still a lot of talk about your owners. What's your thoughts on the ownership of Man United?
Glazers out. I have been for a long, long time, and I still stand on that. I think it's gone a bit quiet, to be fair, since obviously the positive performances and whatnot. And I get it, like, we support our team, of course we do, and we want our team to win. But in terms of the owners, like, I still have firmly the same stance, and I'm very much Glazers out. I think it's been coming for a long time, and I think this season, especially with the Super League and that's when we had a massive push, wasn't it? So hopefully we can continue that momentum. But I can't see anything changing in the short term, to be honest, especially if we have a season where we get back into the Champions League as well, which obviously could happen this season.
Do you think you'll get back into Champions League? Can you see you getting into top 4? It's prediction time. Get that crystal ball out.
We can, but anybody can. It's like one of them seasons, isn't it, where I think it's going to be an absolute scrap. I think we need to go on a run of games. I think whatever team can go on a run, that's who will get it. And I think at the moment we've seen, like, with each half, one half will be good, the next half we're not so good. We're not that consistent team yet. January, if Ronaldo goes, obviously rumours are we are going to get another striker in, and I think that could also change the outcome of the season for us as well, because I think that squad depth is important. Martial's look good, but as you know, I call him Tony Partial for a reason, because he's so in and out, it's unreal, and he's out again. So I think that striker position is essential for us as well. I do think we need to get a striker in January if Ronaldo obviously goes. If not, then I guess Ronaldo is content with being that guy to rotate with whoever obviously starts up top for us. So we can, but at the same time, anybody can. It's just one of them seasons where we just need to take it one game at a time and, like I say, go on that consistent run.
Do you fancy yourself for a trophy?
I would love to get a trophy, but I think priority has to be getting back into the top 4. I think that has to be the priority. Of course, Europa League is going to be a tough trophy to win. We've seen the teams that are coming out of the Champions League into it, Juventus, Barcelona. Like, it's not an easy given, is it? So I would love a trophy, but for me, getting top 4 is a trophy in itself. I think that was always the priority this season, is getting back into Champions League football.
All right, back to the pitch. What players are in form for you? Anyone that we should keep an eye out?
I love Casemiro. I've got to be honest, I absolutely love Casemiro. And you know, my talks on Declan Rice and what I've said in the past, how I'd love Declan Rice, but Casemiro's come in, and I think now we're seeing why we paid the money for him. I think he's been essential for us the last few games. Martinez, obviously, at the back, I think he's solid as well. But with Varane being out, I do have concerns at the back because obviously Martinez, if Maguire comes in, he hasn't really played a lot with him. Lindelof played the last few games, but I'm not always as convinced with Lindelof as I have been with Varane. So it'd be interesting to see what happens at the back. And I think Rashford deserves a mention. I think Rashford is starting to look more like his old self. Scored a header, obviously, in Europa League, which is unlike him, but just the positions he's taken up, and when he gets the ball, he's more positive, more direct, and that's what you want to see from Rashford. So I think he's always a player that you need to be wary of as well.
Happy days. Right, let's talk about West Ham then. What's your thoughts on us?
Mixed. I think in flashes of like Skamaka, for example, is one that I'll talk about where I think he does something amazingly well, but then he does something like dreadful, and it's just like, where is he at the moment? I think he's shown in flashes what he can bring to you. Obviously, he's a goal scorer. Bowen, I've already obviously mentioned in the past and whatnot. Declan Rice, you know my thoughts on him. I think you've got a good team. I think it hasn't quite clicked for you this season, whether that is with the new signings coming in and they haven't quite settled yet. But I still think West Ham have got time to come good. I'm not writing them off this season by any chance. And as you know, in the Premier League, there's never an easy game. So I'm not too confident going into this one because you never know how we're going to turn up as well. It'd be a typical West Ham thing to do to just turn us over, wouldn't it? So, no, I do think West Ham will come good. I think you've shown in flashes. I think it's just about now getting those new players settled. And returning to your whole, like last season, I thought West Ham at times were so entertaining to watch. And I think this season it's just been a bit stagnant, I want to say. I don't know, it's almost like you haven't quite clicked. And like I say, hopefully this weekend isn't the time that you do.
That's a very polite way of saying we're a bit boring this season. That's a very polite
you
way
are,
of saying
you're not a boring team. Like when you look at last season, do you know what I mean? It's not like you're a boring team. You just haven't, for this season, it's just not quite working for whatever reason. But I think it will come good.
I always like asking neutrals their thoughts on, like, I guess, the long-term vision of West Ham and how they see West Ham in comparison to potentially breaking the monopoly of the top six.
Mm-hmm.
But for yourself, given you are a fan of one of those teams, how do you see us compared to Newcastle in terms of, like I said, breaking into there and possibly staying in there? Because obviously we've done it. 2 seasons ago, we finished 6th, so we have done that. We've got into the top 6, but, you know, we immediately dropped out only by 1 place. But at the minute, you're looking at it thinking we might finish top half and that'll be it. We won't challenge for that upper echelons again. But with Newcastle, it's got that different vibe about it, given the wealth behind them. And I was just interested to know your thoughts comparing West Ham and Newcastle, where they are now and what they could do going forward, I guess.
You said the word there, wealth, and I hate to say it, but I think that's what it comes down to. Their financial power obviously is now a lot greater than what yours is. And I think even players, I look at Antonio, a few seasons ago, electric, but you're still kind of relying on Antonio now, and I just don't think that's not a sign of a top team. I think like you kind of move them through, like it becomes more of a squad player, not more of an essential player. And I just feel like with West Ham, the investment isn't there as much. Newcastle signed very smart, obviously in the summer, that obviously spent a lot of money, but they spread it out in there. And I think that with West Ham, you hold on to players a bit too long, I'd say. And I always feel that. So whereas like, most top teams obviously move players on, like I'd say, not United, because like I say, I've still got Phil Jones, but most top teams would do that. Whereas I think West Ham, you kind of have players for above and beyond the time, if that makes sense. And that's what I think.
I agree.
It's down to that investment. It's the investment, isn't it? It's down to the owners and what they want to put into the club. And obviously Newcastle, like I say, everyone expected them to full on splash out in the summer. They couldn't do that, but they still made clever signings, and I think they're going to do that. I think it's going to be very gradual for them. It's not like, oh, they're all of a sudden straight into Europe. I don't think they're going to get it this season, but next season is a possibility after a few windows of slowly filtering quality players in. I don't see West Ham having the same methods. It's like we hold on to players for as long as we possibly can, and then we'll make a decision. And it's a bit late then, do you know what I mean? Because you should always be building on that squad, and that's where I see West Ham.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, actually, because one thing I'm sort of critical of the club is we panic when clubs come knocking for our top players in particular, but we had it with like Marko Arnautovic in that. It's like, oh no, we shall not sell. And then, like you said, you end up selling them anyway, just at a lesser price because you've had that fear. And I get what you're saying. You're almost suggesting we almost milk them dry, and then you end up trying to flog a dead horse at the end of the day, aren't you? Kind of thing. Do you, long term, do you fear Newcastle?
Yeah, I think you have to. I've always said about Newcastle, they've got a great fan base, an amazing stadium. It's a proper football club. Like I hate to say it, but I've always liked Newcastle as a football club. And obviously our old rivalry back in the day and stuff like that. There's something about Newcastle, like it is a quality football club, and it was always sad to see when obviously Sports Direct banners were up and Ashley was in charge, and it was just dying out. It was absolutely dying out, and it was a shame to see that. So, in a way, I'm happy for them because I feel like the fan base, like I say, is quality. I've literally been in with Newcastle away fans in the past at a Villa game because my friend's a Newcastle fan, and the fans are absolutely quality and they adore the club through thick and thin. And I think that the fans deserve a bit of a reward for their loyalty to the club. So yeah, I do fear them. But at the same time, I think for football, I do think like I'm happy for them at the same time. I'm just hoping that, yeah, they're not as good at, I'm not hoping it's not a City Point 2. Do you know what I mean? I'm hoping it's not one of them. I'm hoping that they're going to be a decent team, but not a world-class team. That's what I'm hoping.
Forget the channel you're on for just 1 second. To be honest, do you fear West Ham long term?
It's hard for me to say.
That's a polite no.
No, it's not because I hate playing West Ham. I'll be honest, because look, I've already said it there's no easy game, and I think West Ham are always a solid team. If your methods don't change in terms of transfers, like I've already spoke about, then it's hard for me to say, I do fear you long term because I feel like you're just going to keep doing the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Something needs to change, I think, there. Like I say, you've definitely got players like people like Bowen and whatnot. Are you going to hold on to players like that, or are you going to end up selling? Do you know what I mean? And I think it'll be interesting to see. I think your business method, your transfer method, doesn't quite match lows like I mentioned Newcastle earlier. I feel like if you can refresh your squad more often, sign more players, that squad depth, like you look at your bench and you're probably thinking like, is there much competition for players who are starting? Is there anybody do you know what I mean? Like I feel like that's the kind of like West Ham. If I was a West Ham fan, I would love you to be signing like young up and coming players that you could maybe sell for a bigger fee later on. Do you know what I mean? But players who are going to be pushing those who are on the pitch, and I just feel at the minute you haven't got that squad depth there. And you'd say we were at that point as well when we had players like Jesse Lingard, and you're thinking who's really pushing to come on. Jesse Lingard, obviously, you had a great spell at you guys. I can't believe he didn't go to you. I thought he was going to West Ham. Like I thought that was a given. But it's hard if you change your methods and you do start to, like I say, sign players and then move them on and whatnot, then I do think you could be a force. But I just think you hold on to players for a bit too long, and that's what makes me say I don't really fear you long term. But that could obviously change.
I think you'll find a lot of people will agree with you watching this. Sunday then, let's turn our attention to Old Trafford. How do you see the game going?
We struggle to break teams down.
Serious nerves, by the way. I am detecting.
I'm always nervous. I'm always nervous for United. Honestly, always. I think it could go either way. I think you could be tough to break down, and we've already proven that we struggle to break teams down. You could frustrate us, and then you've definitely got, I've already mentioned, players who can hurt us in the break. And I think that's the way that the game will go. I think we'll have a lot of the ball, but I think it'll be very, very sideways. And we're hoping someone like Eriksen can kind of pick that lock. From set pieces, I don't think you'll have much issues because obviously you're a very physical team. I don't think we have that. So we've got to be really intelligent with how we try and break you guys down. So I think it's going to be a frustrating one. I don't think we'll batter you by any stretch. I think if we win, it'll be like a 1-0, maybe even a 2-1. But I don't think there'll be much in it because I do think you're going to frustrate us. I mean, how do you see it going down, Gio?
The truth be told, it's while everything you said is valid in regards to our player, we definitely have the players to go there and hurt you. It's just the manager. You know, Moyes' record at Old Trafford as a manager throughout his tenure, his career at Everton as well, sort of discarding Sunderland, but even including that, it's
including Manchester United as well.
Yeah, but even when he was at Man U, and he went to Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, you know, there's a stat that went round before we played Liverpool last week at Anfield. He had managed 68 games, 69 now, where he's gone to Liverpool, Man U, Chelsea, and Arsenal, never won a Premier League game, and that's not good enough for any Premier League manager that's played that amount of games or managed that amount of games, And it's not like he's had poor teams either. Sunderland, yes, but that Everton team was his team when he was rocking up at all these places. That was his squad. Yeah. This is his team now at West Ham. And while I don't expect him to win at all those grounds every season, just one win out of those 6, adding in Tottenham and Man City now, I'd just win one of those 6 and get 2 draws if you can, if possible. You can still lose half of them, but just get points somewhere along there. And we just don't get points on the road when it comes to the top 6, if you want. And that's because of sort of the mentality and the tactics and stuff. And if you're giving me a little bit of encouragement when you say you're going to struggle to break us down, because that's how we will play. We will sit deep and we will try and play like a 4-5-1 out of possession and say, well, what are you going to do? And if your answer is not really much, that's going to suit us. But we need to change our mentality if we want to get anything out of this game. I say we need to change. The manager needs to change his mentality.
I do think from set pieces and stuff like that, though, you got to fancy yourselves. So, you know what I mean? If you get like a corner or whatnot, and I get it, like, you've got to get that high up the pitch to win one. I understand that. But I do think if you get a moment like that, I don't fully trust us. Or even like we saw it in Europa League with Malacia not so long back, when we get sucked in because we've got so much of the ball, everyone kind of flies forward. All it takes is someone to give the ball away. And like I say, you've got the players who can hurt us. We've been kind of lucky in Europa League. We could play like that because, no disrespect to our opponents, but the likes of Sheriff and that, they haven't got the quality really to break us down. We could recover and get back. But against West Ham or against any team in the Premier League, it's not going to be that easy. So we have to be really careful not to overcommit.
You're getting my hopes up, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Usually this happens in every opposition prediction preview that I do with the other fan. They come on, they always play their team down. I'm doing it with West Ham as well. You play your team down naturally a little bit, and it gets my hopes up, because I'm sort of, before we started this, I was thinking, oh, well, we've already recorded our preview, me and Gonzo, and he went for a draw and I went for a Man U win just by a goal. And now you're getting my hopes up, and I'm starting to think, actually, maybe we might get something on Sunday afternoon. But can I get your score prediction? And you've given us a little bit of a clue there, but you can't have two. You get off the fence. Come on, Soph, give us your score prediction.
I would love a clean sheet. I would absolutely love it. I think, like I've already mentioned, if we can defend well off set pieces and that, so I'm going to say 1-0 to United. I think it'll be a tight one, though.
Well, there you go. You want to hear and see more from Soph, head over to the Ladies in Red YouTube channel. Link is in description below, and her latest video will be on your screen in approximately 5 seconds time. If you've enjoyed this video, however, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up button, subscribe to your Hammers chat. Myself and Soph will catch you in a few months for the game at London Stadium.